Why 4 lions?
Did you know that Osama means like a lion?
And so you've taken...
Well, that's one reason. I mean, there's a multiple, sophisticated set of interacting reasons in the title, to the extent that, well, we understand lions as a warrior image. I think the monument in DC to the law enforcement officers who've lost their lives is essentially lions. In fact, 4 lions around this monument near the Mall. But so there's that. There's Osama like a lion. There's the British football shirt, which is 3 lions, and we figured that these guys would support the British football team. We never got as far as fully developing all of these, so it's just kind of like a half-cooked stew, which I think amounts to a pretty positive, persuasive reason for calling it 4 lions.
Now, in Britain, you're a celebrity, and you're known...
I'm not.
You're not?
No.
I thought...
Vaguely recognised by 1 or 2 people who quietly mumble my name once every 6 months as I pass them in the street.
But Chris, I thought you were controversial.
Yeah, but that's not the same as being a celebrity.
I see.
Be careful here.
Okay. So you're
I'm not really controversial either. I mean, there's other people who've made the mistake of identifying me as such.
Uh-huh. So but you are a satirist, and you do attack sort of stupidity wherever you find it in current
Most of all
events.
in my own head, yeah. No, I kind of feel that, you know, life is cutting your way out of a thicket of stupidity, and occasionally when you get past your own brambles and find someone else's, you want to uproot those as well.
Do you think that by tackling the subject of Islamic terrorist, I mean, I can't imagine this being done in the United States. It just seems to be like a dangerous topic to make fun of these people and present them as idiots.
Why can't you imagine that? I mean, there are not many things that the culture of this country won't tackle. So why not that?
And I guess, well, Albert Brooks tried.
And?
Nobody really went to see it and thought it was very funny.
But you see, yeah, I mean, I think you've got to find the right sort of spark somewhere to do it. You can't do it out of nothing. And I wasn't looking for sparks in this area, but I think the start of what became 4 Lions was basically this idea that you can find a sort of men with feet of clay in the most unlikely situations. And in fact, why wouldn't you? You find them everywhere else. Why would the flawed nature of being a human suddenly make a diversion around a terrorist cell and then carry on everywhere else? And that was brought to my mind by funny things which were funny in the context of this serious subject, whether they were guys trying to blow up a US warship with an exploding boat, who, when they put their explosives in the water, in the boat, I've told this so many times, it's just coming out as boat and explosives and water, but essentially they filled their launch with explosives and it sank. And I thought, that's pretty silly. And then the leader of the 9/11 hijackers being nicknamed by his own cell the Ayatollah because he was so strict. He was so strict, in fact, that when he started Islamic discussion groups, you could bet that within 2 weeks he'd have sacked them all for not being Islamic enough. And you start to see that there are sort of the origins of comedy characters all over the place. I mean, and some of them are architects of things which worked, and others, like the Canadian cell who were trying to assassinate the Canadian Prime Minister but forgot his name, are never really going to get off the ground.
When I was watching this, and it's such a surprising film because it really brings you in, you're not sure what's going to start happening when you see these videos that they're doing and the gun is too small, and then they go to the Middle East for their jihad and they end up using a rocket launcher to bomb an Israel.
They're in Pakistan. They're in Pakistan. They're not. They're in the border regions of Pakistan.
But they bomb their own camp.
Well, look, I mean, I spoke to a guy who fought with Osama bin Laden when that was a more acceptable thing to do than it is now. And I don't mean fought with as in had a wrestling match with, I mean alongside. And then he differed with him in 2000 and is happy to talk about that experience and puts a strong difference. I mean, he hasn't changed his position. He thinks Osama bin Laden has changed his. So this guy still, he's not abandoned every aspect of the cause, but he doesn't believe in killing innocent people. And he told me how difficult it is to use a rocket launcher. He said, I mean, he literally said, "Have you any idea how difficult it is?" He said, "It's a tricky thing to use accurately, and it's unbelievably difficult to use if you're under fire." I mean, there's, it's not false that in the film, the rocket launcher they use, which is the I think it's the AT4, it has an arrow on it and says, "Use this way round." Now that's how they're supplied to the military, because it's a pretty symmetrical object,
And you
don't want silly mistakes. So it's and if you're under fire and your life is threatened, I can understand making. I mean, could you even get anything together? And these guys think they're going to be taken out by a drone. So, yes, it looks stupid to us, but I wouldn't put money on more than 10% of people being able to even get the thing working.
So it becomes kind of like the comical adventures of the gang that couldn't shoot straight, but it's the gang that couldn't bomb straight, as the New York Times called it. And then, but we do see people getting blown up through the whole movie. So you're making light of it, but you're also acknowledging the horror of it.
Well, I mean, we're acknowledging that death is final, and that if you're caught up in a powerful explosion, you're unlikely to be there in the next shot with your hair vertical and a bit of soot on your face. So, yes, but I also think that how many deaths have you seen in the cinema this year?
But usually those seem to be playful deaths. I mean,
in the cinema.
Yes, I mean, you go see a movie like Red, thousands of people may be killed, but you don't really feel that any one of them. Yeah.
What kind of heartless beast are you?
Yes, I guess I am. The other thing about this is you present them as coming together, these Islamic buddies, is sort of a communal group. They seem to be finding in their paranoia and persecution complex solidarity by joining each other, and they have no real clear idea really about the goals.
The strongest thing is often the group bond, it seems, from those who know much better than I, and it's called the bunch of guys theory. So that, I hope, is reflected in the film, and their bond is made out of anything that guys would normally bond on or for. I was on a radio show earlier today. I reckon you could radicalise that lot within a week, because you've just got just the way groups of men work together has a lot in common, whatever they're doing. So that's the same with this lot, and I think there was a cell in court that the case of which I attended quite a lot, and there was surveillance documents which gave you a great insight into how they worked and what they were and weren't thinking about. And within that group of 7 people, there was a huge range of ability and knowledge, and there was sort of leadership struggles. And one guy, late in the proceedings, is recorded waking up in the middle of the night. I think he's 17 or 18, and he wakes up one of his fellows and says, "Brother, listen, I've got a problem." He goes, "Shut up, go back to sleep." He says, "No, listen, bro, seriously, I want to ask you something like that. Those 600 kilos of fertilizer we've got in a lockup, they're not for gardening, are they?" It's just dawned on him. And the other one says, "Shut up, bro, go back to sleep. You don't need to know anything about it." He says, "Yeah, I do need to know something about it. It's bought on my credit card."